After 2 weeks of waiting, finally the episode 10 of Bad Buddy has been already released last Friday to the public. Having the cliffhanger scene from the episode 9, we were already trying to anticipate the worst that could happen to both Pat and Pran. Bad Buddy has been steadily giving us something to look forward to, and it's just sad that this series would already end after the next 2 episodes. With the success of Bad Buddy, it's highly probable that this series would have a second season or even some special episodes, but that will be depending on the conclusion. In this video, I will be sharing my thoughts about the latest episode and also some scenes from the novel that you might want to know about. Also, I will be linking down below the official English translation of Bad Buddy if you want to read the whole book on your own. Anyway, if you live in a different country and some BL series are not available to yours, you can use ExpressVPN to watch those restricted series. Use the link on the description below to have 49% discount and 3 months free if you opt to avail the 12-month plan. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Following the cliffhanger from the episode 9, we could see that the episode 10 started with a lot of tension for every character, but it immediately subsided once everything was cleared from Pat's family. To be honest, I was really terrified after Pran was caught by Pat's parents on the hospital, and I also thought that it was the beginning of the end. After everything that they had endured in the past, the family feud between the two is still the root cause why Pat and Pran are in their position right now. Another thing, the rumor that Pat's dad and Pran's mom was a thing in the past was actually one of my theories why the feud started, but the actual reason turned out to be more than just having a broken heart. People might say that it's not sort of a big deal, but it actually is. First, Pran's mom was robbed of the chance to have a better future, and that's truly hurtful. Seeing one of your dreams being snatched away from you in front of your eyes is not an easy thing to process. Although I would say that it's still not right to instill hatred on your child just because of what happened in the past. The parents of both Pat and Pran put them in a situation that they don't deserve and caused them a lot of pain. Overall, the episode 10 is an emotional yet powerful episode. Everyone deserves to be recognized for doing a great job. If there's one thing that I truly appreciate in this episode, that would be the confession scene of Pat for Pran. This is undeniably one of the most heartwarming scenes in the entire series, and it's actually more than about the fight between the two departments. Since the two departments consider themselves as mortal enemies of one another, it's hard to believe that a relationship between them will bloom. What I really liked about this one is no one questioned about their sexualities. Just like any other confession scenes from straight couples, there's no third party that would ruin their celebration of being accepted, and it's wonderful to see in this series. The feelings of ink and Pa for one another was already hinted a couple of times already, but we were not sure about it until the episode 10 happens. It's refreshing to see a GL couple in a BL series, and I think that should be celebrated because it's one step forward for the whole community. I was actually thankful that Pa did not end up with Y, because I believe that Ink is more of a mature character than him and would bring the best out of Pa. Although the GL part is new for a lot of fans, we should be ready for more in the future. Since the beginning of Bad Buddy the series, I have been reading a lot of fans comments shipping both Y and Korn for one another to be a couple. It's probably due to the nature of their characters being the closest friends to the main characters. Another thing, people see a lot of resemblance to them from other enemies to lovers characters and think that they would be a wonderful couple. Personally, since the episode 9, I started to think that Korn deserves a better person than Y. It's because of what Y did to Pat and Pran on that episode, and I still believe that they did not deserve to be outed in that way. But seeing the episode 10, that could be a great hint that something might develop between them, or they could be each other's new best friend. Before we start on this part of this video, I just want to remind you that this scene is only based on the novel and will surely be different on the series itself. After reading the book, I can definitely say that the novel is a bit more serious than the series. The execution of the scenes in the novel is good, but I kind of like the series more because of the toned down drama. In the novel, both Pat and Pran are now living on their respective houses, so it's hard for them to do what they had done on their dormitory. Because of their situation, Pat would always climb Pran's room just because he misses him and to cuddle with him always. One day, when Pran's parents went to other places, Pat went to Pran's room in order to be with him on that day. The two actually got to make love with one another, and Pat slept on Pran's room at that night. In the morning, Pat and Pran were surprised when Pran's mom saw them sleeping together on Pran's room. Pran's mom shouted as loud as she could, and Pran's dad went to where they were. Because of what he saw, Pran's dad beat Pat and left a lot of bruises on his body. Pat's parents were also shocked on what happened and said that Pat should have snapped out of his insanity. Pat's parents said that they should immediately fix the marriage of Pat and Punch in order for him to be the good old Pat again. Pat replied to them that he was just loving a person just like his parents. He was only loving just like any other person in the world. But the parents of Pat had already decided that he should marry Punch no matter what happens. Pat was restricted on going out and was also moved out from his old room. His phone was also confiscated in order not to talk with Pran ever again. On Pran's side, his father was also furious on what he saw, so he immediately processed the papers of Pran to move to England as soon as possible. Since the two couldn't talk with one another, Pa let her brother borrow her phone to talk with Pran. The two only had a little conversation, but most of the times they were just listening to their heavy breathing because of their problems with their families. After Pat's family went to talk about the marriage, Pat decided to run away with Pran on that night. At 3 in the morning, Pat called Pran and said that they should just run away from their families. But Pran did not want to do that because that won't solve anything. Pat was insisting to do his plan, but Pran used the weakness of his boyfriend and asked if he could really leave Pa alone. This made Pat realize the consequences of his actions, but this was also the last time that Pat and Pran talked with one another before breaking up. On the day of Pat's engagement with Punch, it was also the day that Pran would fly to England. The novel scenes are really heavy, and thankfully it wasn't adapted into the series because it would only leave us devastated. If you also want to read the book, you can purchase your own copy of the official English translation linked on the description box. What do you think of the episode 10 of Bad Buddy? Thank you for watching. That's it, and see you on the next one.